What's going on, crew? Another congratulations to everyone who played the video from yesterday. I had two lineups. I think I only shared this one. This one I made after I did the live show. But 307. We're in the 300 club. Get used to it. A lot more to follow. Um, it was a good night. Simplify the game. That's what I do, and that's what I'm gonna continue doing today. Now, I'm not gonna break down the Indiana and Oklahoma game. I live in New York, and let me tell you guys a story. I went to we have a supermarket up here called Hannaford, right? I went to Hannaford to try to get some I like the what they call it, grilling tips. The top sirloin grilling tips. That's the steak that I like to bake. It's so tender and juicy. Um I just cut up a piece of onion, some garlic, put some butter, some what they call it, Montreal steak dressing on it, seasoning on it. Put it in the oven for about an hour, 15 minutes, and damn, oh, I cut some potatoes up into small squares, right, and then I put it in, and then when it's like 20 minutes before it finished cooking, I throw some asparagus in the broth, and that's the best dinner in the world. It takes me an hour and a half to make, and that's just a little side note, but nonetheless, I went to the supermarket to get meat, and there's no meat on the shelves. The supermarket, I thought they robbed the place, honestly, because there's nothing on the shelves, right? And I'm wondering, first supermarket I went to was Hannaford. I got the steak, thank God. But then I'm wondering where the rest of the food at. So I went to Walmart. I don't like buying meat at Walmart, but I'll get regular groceries, whatever. But they didn't have nothing on the shelves. So I went to Walmart, and Walmart is pretty much empty. So then I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm a dude like, cause I'm not working right now, whatever. I don't know what the weather is or was supposed to be like. I know my girl was like, we supposed to be getting a storm, but I didn't think it was like something tragic or big, right? So I get back to the car. I said, "Hun," I said, "the shelves are empty. There's nothing on the shelves." She goes, "Yeah, I told you it's gonna be a big storm." So I look it up online and I see that the Knicks game is threatened to be postponed with the Nets game. And then it all made sense to me. I guess there's supposed to be a big storm. So I went back inside, bought some turkey meat and I bought food for 2 days just in case I can't get out the house. I'm good. I got DFS. I got you guys. And I got food. That's all I need. I got water. I got juice. Shout out to Snapple Fruit Punch, Snapple Orangeade. That's all you need in this world. Um, and that's my little story of the day. So I'm not gonna cover those two games because the way the mayor is declaring a state of the emergency and uh, mass transit shutdown and whatnot, I find it very hard to believe. First of all, when it's a state of the emergency, you can't drive unless you're going to work or home or emergency purposes. So it'll be illegal at that point for people to even go to the game or drive there. And public transportation is shut down as well. So I have a strong feeling that those games won't happen. Um, If it does happen, I'll do another video midday tomorrow, but I'm gonna stay away from those games because my better judgment says that those games won't happen, right? All right, so let's see what we got. Detroit versus Cleveland. Kevin Love remains out. Tobias Harris and Kyle Korver has question marks. I'm gonna start on the Detroit side of the ball. Point guard. Reggie Jackson's been stepping it up. Am I gonna play Reggie Jackson for $5,800? I doubt it. We know that he can get you 17 points. Lately, he's been into the 30s, but we need mid to upper 30s from him tomorrow, and I just don't trust Reggie Jackson. Ish Smith, on the other hand, I think is worth some consideration, but if Reggie Jackson jumps off to a good start, Ish Smith might get the minutes. It's a 50-50 gamble with those picks, and I want to stay away from that tomorrow. Let's see what's going on with Tobias Harris. He was held out of practice due to a sore left knee. He's banged up with the Knicks, but stated that he still expects the forward to be available Tuesday in Cleveland. In the matchup, the Knicks Harris played 33 minutes of his. Look for more definite update. For 6K, I wouldn't play him. Um, he had a good game against the Knicks, and he has 5 games where he's been in the 30s. If they put him back in the starting lineup, I got to see what the rest of the slate look like. But just because I would consider him, I'll pull him over into the lineup for now. Marcus Morris on any given night, I do like him. Um, his price his price calls for mid 30s for 6 times value. And in case you haven't been watching my videos, 6 times value is what we expect from our players. If our players are not over 50% guaranteed, well, it can't be guaranteed, but if there's not a strong chance that they're going to have 6 times value, I try not to consider them. If they have not been showing consistency, I don't consider rostering players because I don't really like gambling too much. I like to be in the green at the end of the night. So Marcus Morris hasn't been showing that consistency that I need. He's had games 18, 16, 26, 27. That's not the mid 30s that we want. It's not something that I want to gamble with tomorrow. John Lure, same story. He can get you 15, 14 fantasy points in the last 10. He hasn't hit one, two, 3 times. Thing with him is when he gets going, he can get you 39, 31. So if you're a gambler and a tournament guy that wants to hit big, I guess you could try Marcus Morris against a Cleveland team who's missing Kevin Love and don't have a body down low. But I'm all set with that. Andre Drummond is worth consideration. We need about mid 40s to be happy. In 3 games against Cleveland this year, he's averaging 30 minutes and he's putting up 38.6. Um, he can get you 51, which is nice, 46, 39, and 26. The thing with Cleveland is, I don't know. I'll put him over because he's worth consideration, and it seems to be a small slate approaching anyway. And that's it for Detroit. On the Cleveland side, Kyrie Irving on any given night, I think for the most part we can call him matchup proof at this point. He's consistently in the 40s out of the last 10 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the 40s. That's 80%, right? In 3 games against this team, he's averaging just 40. Although that's not 6 times value, we need just about 50 from him to be 6 times value. But because of how small the slate seems that it's gonna be, I'm gonna pull him over as a consideration. Deron Williams is the backup. I'm not interested. Neither am I interested in Iman Shumpert. Let's see. Kyle Korver was out against the Rockets, and he's day by day. Excuse me. I'm a little bit tired tonight. Can't lie. I'm happy it's a short sleep. I guess Kai Lorver got something going on with his foot, so he's out. J.R. Smith still working his way back from his thumb. He's not in game. He hasn't shown any consistency or promise. LeBron James on any given night can and will go off. He's played 2 games against the Detroit Pistons. They played about a week ago, and he put up 67 points. If he does that again tomorrow, that would be 6 times value. That's what we want. The thing that I'm concerned about is they played 2 games, and he's averaging 49 points. So if 66, if he put up 67 the other night, 59, that's 18. That means the other game he put up about 31 fantasy points. And about, well, he played way less. He played, I would say, about 22, 21 minutes. So that makes sense. LeBron is definitely in play for tomorrow, worth consideration. I'm going to also pull him over. And I think that's it that I'm going to get to for the Cavs. Shannon Fry and Richard Jefferson does not show consistent promise. I'm not going to mess with them. Tristan Thompson, we know, is okay. He needs 30 to make us happy. And the other day, he only put up 17 fantasy points. When they played last week, in 3 games this season, he's averaging 27 minutes and he's only putting up 25.3 fantasy points. So Tristan Thompson is a risky pick for tomorrow, and I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to skip over these 2 games. Portland versus New Orleans. Um, we know that Dante Cunningham and Evan Turner are the 2 injuries. On the Portland side of the ball, let's see. Damian Lillard against New Orleans is always a good matchup. Damian Lillard is red hot right now, man. For $88, I definitely want some of that. In 2 games this season, he's played 35.5 minutes and he's averaging 44 fantasy points. In the last 10, he's 50s. At that price, we'll need 50s for sure. A little 50 to 55 to be happy. In the last 10, he's hit 53 times and 40s. He's been less than 40 only 2 times in the last 10 games. And New Orleans is a decent matchup for him as well. He's taken back control of the team exclusively of CJ McCollum, which we can go to next. I'm very confident in Damian Lillard for tomorrow. CJ McCollum, 2 back-to-back games in the 40s. In 2 games this season against this team, he's averaging 38.1 fantasy points, playing 36.2 minutes. For his price, we're going to need mid 40s. The thing with CJ McCollum, these last 2 games, 45 and 40. The 2 before that was 33 and 23. New Orleans is the matchup, and he's considerable, so I'm going to pull him over, but I'm not strongly convinced that CJ McCollum is the way to go tomorrow, unless the dominoes fall into place. Maurice Harkless, if you know me, then you know that I'm not playing him. I'm not even considering him. There's a personal vendetta against Maurice Harkless. I needed 6 points last night to win over $100 more than I won, and Harkless only gave me 5.75. So if you'd have gave me 15 last night, I'd have been happy. All right. 10 games before that, all in the 20s, but the night that I really needed, he put up 5 points. But if you want me to discuss him some more, I think he's a safe play. We need about 25 to 30 to be satisfied. In the last 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times he's done that. In 2 games versus New Orleans, he's averaging 32 minutes and he's averaging 27.4, which is just around the 6-time value that we want. So he's worth consideration. I'll pull him over, but geez, he can't be doing that. Let me just make sure his minutes are still there. I know that. Oh, he only played 22 minutes and he wasn't in foul trouble. So something's going on, and I think it has to do a lot with getting Myers Leonard more minutes and Von Lay more minutes. Von Lay is the starter. He's been playing minutes in the low 20s. For the minimal price, he's someone that I will consider strongly for a value play. In the last, so he's 19, which is more than 6 times value, 15, 5 times value. He can get you 8, 11, and 7. So he's risky. But I've been watching the games. His hustle has been improving. He's crashing the boards. Um, he looks like a point per minute kind of player, and he's getting minutes up in the upper teens, low 20s. So he's someone that I'm keeping in the back of the mind. Only reason I won't pull him over is because he's going up against the Twin Towers in Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and I'm just not. It's a little risky. I think Myers Leonard will get more run against those guys tomorrow. Myers Leonard and Vonley are both min price, and they both can be good value if you get them right. But I just don't like taking those risks, and I'm gonna stay away from them tomorrow. Nurkic, I kind of got fooled by this 81-point game, and I played him the other night when he gave us 24 points. I'm not gonna play Nurkic. I think this 81 is because it was the Sixers. The 76ers suck. When it comes to centers, they'll just be generous, hand out points. But Nurkic, I think, is not worth seven. He needs 40s for that 7K tag. He's only hit 40s one, two, three times in the last 10. And it says here in 26 minutes, he put up 40.3 against this team. But that's before DeMarcus Cousins. And I just don't want to mess around with it. I don't feel too good about it for tomorrow. Um, what I can say is I can't even say that. I was gonna say I like Drummond more than Nurkic more than Drummond, but that's not a fact. I like Nurk. So let's go on the New Orleans side of the ball. Drew Holiday is probably one of my favorite plays for tomorrow. So in good matchups, he seems to do okay. They're starting to see that. So it seems like when DeMarcus Cousins first came to the team, they were trying to run things through DeMarcus, having played like a point forward kind of guy. But Drew Holiday is taking back control. His shot attempts in the last four games are 14, 9, 9, and 12. His assists 13, 6, 3, and 12. Um, and he's had three steals in three of the last four games. So he's stealing the ball, he's assisting the ball, he got some rebounds, and he's scoring the ball. He needs 40s. I think he gets into the 40s. The matchup is good for him against Utah. He didn't do well, but that's not a good matchup. Toronto normally is a good matchup, but if you remember that I said that now that Corey Joseph is starting instead of drawing a blank. I hate when that happens. Toronto point guard Kyle Lowry. Corey Joseph is starting instead of Kyle Lowry, so it changes up um, Toronto's point guard defense situation. I think Corey Joseph is a little tougher, and that caused Drew Holiday some issues. But in good matchups like the Lakers, Charlotte, San Antonio, we know generous to point guards. Um, he did okay, and I think he'll do okay tomorrow. So I'll strongly consider Drew Holiday, and gonna take out Hawkless for now. Tomorrow's gonna be tough. It's a lot of big names. I hate those kind of games because then you got to pick the right value play, and it's gonna take a little bit of gambling and picking someone that's not consistent. On a big slate, you can pick exactly what you want and be satisfied. On these smaller slates, you got to go fishing for value, and it could be a little bit difficult. But I'm gonna fish my way through it. Jamal Crawford, I like a lot. Love Jamal. The reason I love him is because he's only 4K. He's been in the league 3 games, and he's put up 30 fantasy points in two out of those 3 games. Right? He's going against Portland, which tends to be generous to the guards. I think the scouting report has been updated on him, and they'll know how to kind of slow him down. But with the production that he's doing and the price that he costs, I will take out CJ McCollum and put Jamal Crawford in, and I will do that with confidence, right? Eton Moore, Hollis Thompson are just not people I would consider unless some type of injury news drop. And I can't even imagine. I wouldn't consider them even if injury news drop. Because Eaton Moore has been starting, and with the starting role, he hasn't done anything. So, in my opinion, they probably need to start that Jordan Crawford kid. Solomon Hill, same story. Thompson, same story. Anthony Davis is interesting. We need about 60 from him to be happy. In 3 games this season, he's exceeded 60 points. On his birthday, the last game out, he put up 82 fantasy points. That's a lot of fantasy points. So the thing about that game is DeMarcus Cousins didn't play a lot of the fourth quarter. And he didn't play a lot of the first quarter because he was in foul trouble. So I think I'm starting to be at first I like DeMarcus Cousins more than Anthony Davis. And at this point I think they offset each other and you'll get 40s from both of them. Maybe one get 50s and the other get 40s. Um Gonna leave them both alone. They're too expensive to be sharing the ball on the same team playing similar positions. And Nurkic kind of toughens up the interior a little bit. So I don't know which direction that's gonna go in. Um, it's hard to pick one of those guys. I'm gonna stay away from them both tomorrow, to be honest with you. Um, and that's it for that game, right? Philly versus Golden State. So tomorrow is Steph Curry's birthday. Apparently, Curry costs $10,000. In the last 10 games, he's averaging 46 fantasy point, which is just four times value, right? He's put up 43, 39, 44. That's not what you want. You can risk Steph Curry with the birthday narrative all you want, but I'm okay. I am going to pass. I am not playing Steph Curry. Klay Thompson is always worth consideration. In two out of the last three, he's put up over 40 points. And if you know me well, you know I like to get values for my shooting guard, which works perfect because Jordan Crawford is my shooting guard. And that's where my value is going to come from tomorrow. I'm not going to touch him. I'm not paying up 7K for a shooting guard that's not really capable of guaranteeing me some peripheral stats. And that's just a personal thing with me in fantasy sports. Matt Barnes is 3,700. Um, with Patrick McCaw being so soft, um, I think Matt Barnes get some more run tomorrow for more than one reason, right? The first reason is Spurs won today, so the Golden State Warriors are not top seed in the West or in the NBA, which is a little bit alarming, right? Matt Barnes is experienced, and we know that he can give us peripheral stats. He's only 4K. I, I don't think there's any way he's gonna get 10 or 13 minutes tomorrow. I know they rested the starters, and that's why he got all this amount of minutes. But I think those minutes return. I think he's good for a point per minute, and he gets over 20 minutes. I like Matt Barnes as a value pick tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and plug him in as well. Patrick McCaw, he seems to have been getting the start, but please, guys, do not put this guy in. He went 0 for 12. If a guy go 0 for 12 in an NBA game, don't put him in. I look at the games. He looked like he weighs about 60 pounds. He doesn't really. The team is trying to boost his confidence, so they're throwing him out there, and he's running up and down, and he's just not ready yet for the NBA. He's like a Buddy Hield guy. I guess they can have some potential, but they need some experience, and they need to be a little more consistent before I consider playing them in my lineup. Draymond Green is like so inconsistent that I'm not gonna bother. His last game he had 29. The one before that 37. We need about mid 40s from him tomorrow, and I'm just not comfortable relying on Draymond Green for that. Zaza Pachulia seems to be a guy that I like to roster. Okay, and let's not forget that he is a center going up against Philadelphia in a game that Golden State needs desperately. If you do not play Zaza Pachulia tomorrow, something is wrong with you. You don't deserve to play fantasy basketball. Zaza Pachulia is a lock. You got to get him in your lineup, okay? So Drummond is a little bit iffy and he's a little bit expensive. I'm going to get rid of Drummond and I'm going to fire up Zaza. That's a no-brainer, okay? Now, that's it for the Golden State. For Philly situation could be a little bit complicated. Um, Point guard McConnell, he's normally good for around 30, but he hasn't been getting there. I know the last game out, I considered his backup on a shorter slate for some value. Um, he didn't do too well. He only got 9 points. I'm not gonna do it again tomorrow. In one game against Golden State, he played 28 minutes and he put up 22 fantasy points. So if he plays half of that, which is about 14 minutes tomorrow, we're looking at about 11 fantasy points. I'm not interested again in Sergio Rodriguez. Justin Anderson sucks. When Gerald Henderson sits out with knee issues or hip issues, And I like to look at Justin Henderson just a little bit, but Gerald Henderson is back in effect. I actually like Henderson. If you look at his totals, when he gets minutes in the 20s, he can get you 15, 20 fantasy points, 26 here, 18 here, 27 here. So he's pretty consistent to hit value. There's two games where he scored 8 and 4, but he only played 17 and 11 minutes in those games. And those games look to have been blowouts. This game can very much so be a blowout, but the coach got Philadelphia playing hard. Saric is fighting. Um, doesn't sit well with me that they went neck to neck with the Lakers, but whatever. Gerald Henderson, I'm going to write down on a piece of paper as a value pick that I'm interested in. I think if I'm going to do stars and scrub, which I'm forced to do on a slate like this, I might end up with some Gerald Henderson at the end of the night. I know last night I wrote down Jeremy Lamb on a piece of paper as I made this show with you guys, and we saw what Jeremy Lamb did for us. Gerald Henderson, I like him as a nice value pick. He's been a sneaky play for me. I've been plugging him in some lineups here and there, and he's secretly been winning me money on the low. So don't count him out yet. Gerald Henderson is definitely a good pick. Um, Covington is still questionable. He didn't play Sunday. I guess something's going on with his knee. If he plays, I'm not really interested. I need 40s from him. He can get you 27. He can get you 51. He can get you 25, 19, 36. Those are all his totals. With the other value that's on the board, I'm not really interested in Gerald Henderson. Power forward Saric is always worth consideration. The thing is, his price is now up to $8,000. That's the highest he's been, right? Against Golden State, he played 35 minutes. He put up 41 points. We know that he's like the go-to guy on that team. He's taking the most shots. He's grabbing rebounds. I like Saric tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie. I like Saric tomorrow. I like the setup. I like the situation. It's Golden State. Teams tend to bring their best against Golden State. I think Saric, even against the Lakers, they went up and they played hard, and Saric was the reason. Saric pulled through. I love Saric tomorrow. Holmes for 5K, we need 30. He did put up 30 in 28 minutes against Golden State this year. He has been playing minutes in the mid 20s, and he's been doing well. Richon Holmes has been doing. I think Holmes and Saric might be a good handcuff tomorrow. Let's see what's going on with Okafor before I make that decision. Okafor, anybody can look well against the Lakers, so I'm gonna ignore this Laker game. But he's been in the mid to upper 20s. In one game against Golden State, he played 17 minutes. I think Saric is the constant in this whole equation that I'm trying to figure out. Let's break it down a little more. So center is shared between Okafor and Holmes, right? Power forward is shared between Saric and Covington. Small forward between Henderson. Like Saric tomorrow, and I'm gonna see how I can fit him in. I don't know if I could take out Damian Lillard for Saric. I don't think that's a good idea. Um, Kyrie Irving in his last 10 is averaging 49 points. And his total has been 47, 44, 37, and 47. Lillard has been 51, 46, 37, 40. So they have similar numbers. It's a little tough. So I'm gonna write Saric's name down as someone that I like, and then I'm just gonna finish breaking down all the players who I like, who I don't like. Then I'm gonna work on the lineup based on these 3 games. But love Saric for some reason tomorrow. I don't think I get to him because of how things look, but let's see. And that's it. Saric is the only one on the Philadelphia team that I will force into my lineup. I know I'm gonna take out Tobias Harris. He's questionable, and even if he does play for 6K, I think he's the one that can be the weakest link. Move LeBron James up. into small forward. So the slate's broken down. This actually looks great. Kyrie Irving, Jamal Crawford, Jordan Crawford, LeBron James, Matt Barnes, Zaza Pachulia, Damian Lillard, and Drew Holiday. Now, Drew Holiday is sacrificable, I would say here. Um, I think that 48-point performance was because it was overtime and that Boogie Cousins was out. When you have three people between him, Boogie, and Cousins for the ball, just doesn't sit well for with me on a slate like this, right? So if I put Saric in here now, I still have to sacrifice another big name player. LeBron, I don't think it's worth sacrificing for Saric. I think a LeBron and Kyrie pairing up is not a bad idea. Because from what we see, whenever they play, one have a monster game, and the other one have a regular game, right? Now, in LeBron, I might get rid of LeBron for Savage. It might help me a lot because LeBron needs 66. The day that I did not play LeBron, he gave 64, and that's not quite six times value, right? He needs 66 against Detroit, who plays good defense. So uh, it's hard to fade LeBron because he's LeBron, but I think it's not a bad idea. You fade LeBron, then you get back your Drew Holiday because I know I like Drew, so I'll take the chances on Drew. Move Saric up into small forward. I can't move Matt Barnes up into small forward, and then put Saric as the power forward. Um, and then we have 6K. Let's see what we can buy ourselves for 6K. Um, Jeez, it's looking like Marcus Morris barely makes the cut. But if I had to choose between him and Tobias, I'll go get Tobias without a doubt. Oh, Tobias is a little bit more. Tobias just been more stable. Marcus Morris, it's a risk, It's a little risky. I don't want to force a risk into my lineup. I really don't want to do that. So let's see what we could accept for forward. The lowest that I would accept for a forward, and then it'll tell me who else I can pay up for, right? The lowest that I'm willing to accept for a forward, and I'm just gonna do this so I could take out those New York games. It doesn't really. Myers Leonard, I've been liking them lately. They're not gonna really go too much Aminu and Vonleh. I think Miles Leonard put a bigger body on Anthony Davis. They're gonna need his length. That's just my thoughts that they're gonna need his size and length. So having Miles Leonard will open up for me to get someone like Steph Curry, which I'm not into, but I can get um let's see, Anthony Davis, or I could take a gamble. I'd rather take another gamble on Cousins than on. But you know what? Why do that when we get someone like Nurkic, right? I think Nurkic on this slate would be interesting. Get someone like Nurkic, and then we're still looking for a 6K forward. Who did I have there before? Drew Holiday or Nurkic? Who do you want? Drew Holiday or Nurkic? So let's look at all of our options. Paul George. Oh, that game. Let me get out of that. It's gonna mess with my judgment. Um. So I like Drew. If I had to choose between Drew or Nurkic, let's see. Last 10, Drew is averaging 37. Nurkic is averaging 43. They both seem to have good matchups. Um, as far as floor, ooh, I see something that I don't like, and I'm gonna stay away from Nurkic tomorrow. Nurkic in the last 4 games finished the game with 5 fouls in each game. DeMarcus Cousins is the leading player in the NBA at imposing fouls on the opponents. Okay, so although Nurkic seems to be in a good spot and I can get some value for him, that's very alarming. That makes him risky because the way that DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis attack that rim, Nurkic has to contest and he will rack up some early fouls. Foul trouble is a risk for Nurkic. I'm going to leave him alone. All right. Coming down on this list, Reggie Jackson against Cleveland is not really too bad of a pick. A sub 6K Reggie Jackson. 4 out of the last 5 games got into the 30s. The only thing is, if I'm gonna pick Reggie Jackson, then why not just go Drew Holiday, right? I wouldn't pick Reggie Jackson over Drew Holiday on any given day. So for me to know I have the money for Drew Holiday kind of turns me off for Reggie Jackson. Um, but someone for 71, Covington. You know, I don't think that's a bad idea. If I can um play Reggie Jackson and Covington together tomorrow. Pairing up Covington and Saric has proven to win money. It's won me a lot of money pairing those two together because they're like they're all that their team got. They're the two people that they look for in scoring, and Covington has shown that he has some upside. It's just that his downside, his floor, 27 and 25. If you spend 7K and you get that out of a player, you're gonna be upset. But let's look at the matchups though, right? Um, there's no Durant, and we see teams running over the Golden State Warriors. The Clippers are a little bit tough, right? They got big men inside. Portland is not, and he went off on them. Milwaukee, we know, can be tough. They've been playing defense. They're hot right now. Detroit plays defense. They're hot right now. New York is not, and he took advantage. Miami plays defense. They're hot right now. And Golden State put up 35. I would not be upset with that on a 3 game slate to get 30s from all my players. The Knicks are not good. He took advantage. Washington, we know, struggle in the inside. He took advantage. Boston struggles on the inside. He took advantage. So it seems like when the matchup is there, Covington does well. So I don't mind Covington with Reggie Jackson. Right? That's just one pairing that looks fine. So that's a nice lineup. You could get Kyrie, Crawford, Matt Barnes, Saric, Zaza, Lillard, Covington, and Reggie Jackson. But to have two iffy people that I'm spending almost 13 grand on, it just doesn't sit well with me. So let's keep going down and see what else we can get some value for. Andre Iguodala, he's interesting. 4K, interesting. Ish Smith, Shannon Fry. Now, tomorrow is not a day where you want to jump on one of these big price players and get too much scrubs in, but you do want a couple people that's. So, Zaza, we know against the Sixers is a no brainer. Damian Lillard has been so hot. He's carrying his team, and they're trying desperately to get into this playoff spot and stay there, right? So, a hungry Damian Lillard I could take. Now, Kyrie. So, I'm going to play around a little bit. Kyrie Irving, what's his lowest point? 37? 36 against Detroit the other day. He put up 37. He just goes off when he's ready, though, man. Kyrie Irving is good. Um, yeah, I think I'll get 40. I'm trying to find a way to get Drew Holiday into this lineup. because I think Drew Holiday will take advantage of that Portland setup. In 2 games, 26 minutes, he put up 33. He's been playing minutes in the 30s, so I think 26 minutes, if you add another, I think he get into the 40s. I think he can get into the 40s tomorrow. But his downside against Toronto, 21, Utah, the Lakers, he did good matchups. So with good matchups, he seems to do okay. Portland is definitely a good matchup. Um, all right. So if I take out Kyrie and put in Drew Holiday, right, I have $1,800. I can get Drew and Kyrie, and then I'm back to the $6,000 where I'm picking like a Marcus Morris. The other day against Cleveland, 27. Marcus Morris has potential to get you like 40, but with the emergence of Tobias Harris, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna force Tobias Harris into my lineup, right? I'm gonna start there. Now I have 15.5. Um, I can throw LeBron in, right? And have 4,500. Let me see if I see somebody for 4,500. John Lure, nope. So throwing LeBron in. I don't know why I'm still trying to force LeBron in. It's just not worth it, right? And then we came to the consensus that those two guys are not worth it. So Kyrie Irving, for sure, sure thing. And then 6,800 left. How much is Covington? 71. Jeez. Savage for 8,100. I can't believe I'm really forcing Savage for 8,100. That's a lot of money for Savage. Let me try some stuff. Let me take out Savage, right? And throw in Drew Holiday. Move Tobias up to power forward. And then a forward for 79. I can get Draymond or Covington. Now, a lot of people that's not too I think Draymond is due. This is a matchup for him, man. And with Steph struggling, he's struggling too. He went 1 for 8. The rebounds were there, the assists were there, the blocks and the steal, but the points were not. So I think if Draymond points were there the last game against Minnesota, he would have had value for what it's worth. And his price is down because he's been struggling. He's come down from 8,200 to 8,000. What makes me like him more is that he almost triple doubled against this team right here, and we know that Philly gives it up to big men, right? So if I can have the starting center and power forward on the team against Philly, I think I covered my bases a little bit, and they both are good players that's capable of putting up big points. So I like where this lineup went. It looks very nice. Some big names in there. It's nice and balanced. We know Tobias Harris he's averaging 6 times value in the last 10. And against Cleveland the other day, he was just about 6 times value. So Tobias Harris, especially if they leave him in the starting lineup, I'll take him. If not, I might reconsider and even strongly consider Marcus Morris. I just have to see how the lineup is going to be tomorrow. But so far, I like Tobias Harris, Matt Barnes. I kind of mentioned the situation with him. Matt Barnes and Jordan Crawford are like the two biggest ifs on this lineup, right? So I'm going to organize it a little bit. I'm going to put Tobias Harris as a small forward. Then I'm going to put Draymond as the power forward. And see if it's something else I could get for Matt Barnes for the rest of the money that I have. Justin Anderson, I don't want it. And I feel good about Matt Barnes tomorrow. I think with the team doing as bad as they are, they get some experience on the court and they ball out. So this is it. This is what I like so far. as injury news and that New York games get confirmed. If Russell Westbrook is gonna play, I will spend whatever he wants. 13-4 against the Brooklyn Nets. In 33 minutes, he put up 67. Um, so he already triple doubled on them. 30 points. I'm surprised he only got 10 rebounds. We need 80 for that price. I don't know. I don't know if those New York games play tomorrow. I don't think I could get to Westbrook with all these other big names. When you have LeBron and Lillard and all these names, you got to be careful paying up for Russell Westbrook because he can go off and hit value and get 80 points, but he costs so much that if LeBron, Kyrie, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, if all those other guys also go off, paying up for Westbrook, him going off or not, can still keep you out the money because you couldn't balance out your lineup. You got to look at it like that as well. The next thing is if he doesn't go off and meet value and you already paid all that for him, you're automatically screwed no matter what those other guys do. So I'll be careful with Westbrook, but let's not talk about it unless we have to. We don't know if he's even going to play. This is my lineup so far: Kyrie Irving, Jordan Crawford, Tobias Harris, Draymond Green, Zaza Pachulia, Damian Lillard, Matt Barnes, and Drew Holiday. Um, this is not a slate that I'm going to bet a lot of money on. I won a decent amount of money last night. I don't think I'll spend more than $20 on this slate tomorrow. Wednesday, we know is going to be a big day when I have options and I can get some more security into my lineup. So Wednesday is the big day, but tomorrow I'm going to play it. I just don't think I'm going to go all out. And that's what it is. Good luck. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow when I get back from the casino.